Stig, it's all about compounding. And there are three variables with compounding: your starting capital, the rate of return, and the length of the runway. Now, what we really need is a very long runway. A long runway is a marvelous thing. Warren Buffett bought his first stock when he was 11 years old. He said, he was wasting his time until then. Okay. But he bought his first stock when he was 11 years old. He's going to be 95 this year. Okay. So 84-year runway and counting, which is great. So one of the things that I had assumed when I was 40 years old is that I was going to be leaving planet Earth on June 11th, 2044, when I was 80, one day before short of my 80th birthday. And then recently I went to God Google and I asked God Google, when am I leaving? And of course, when you ask God Google, you're going to get an answer. And God Google said, you're going to be leaving on June 11th, 2054. So I got 10 more years. 10 more years is a beautiful thing. Not because I like my fellow humans, but because I like a long runway. And so as we talk today, I have 29 years and 3 months and a few days left, okay, which is great. It's incredible. So my 40-year self, the one big piece of learning that I wish my 40-year-old self had was that I had a flawed model of investing. And it stuns me that I had this flawed model of investing for almost my entire investing career. It only dawned on me in the last few years that the way I'm doing things is quite stupid. So my model when I was 40 and even when I was like in my 50s, early 50s, was that you try to buy a business for half or less than it's worth. And when it gets valued at 90% or more of intrinsic value, it's time to move on, bring in the next mistress. And that sounds rational, but it's the dumbest thing. And the reason it's the dumbest thing is we don't know what intrinsic value is. We may have a guess at it, but the great businesses surprise to the upside. And they really kind of blow your mind in terms of what they are actually able to do. I mean, Warren Buffett was having difficulty paying 25 million for See's Candy. Basically, the dividends that they've received in the last few decades is approaching 3 billion. More than 100x of what they invested. They still have the business, which is doing very well, but the dividends have been more than 100x, right? And they would have never guessed that in their wildest dreams that it's going to give us 2.5, 3 billion in dividends and counting. So we are never able to really appreciate how great some good businesses can be. We also we definitely will not be able to understand which businesses are the great ones till after we've owned them for a while. So basically, the advice to my 40-year-old would be that, listen, idiot, you're going to get some companies in the portfolio that are truly exceptional. You will know that they are exceptional. I don't need to go into the past to tell you which ones are going to be exceptional. You will know. Just change your framework, which is that when you own an exceptional business, a fraction of an exceptional business, do not sell it at 90% of intrinsic value. Do not sell it when it's fully priced. Do not sell it when it's overpriced. You can possibly think about selling it when it's egregiously overpriced. And when you figure out the difference between overpriced and egregiously overpriced, call me collect. The call me collect Stig, the 30-somethings just missed that. They don't know what that phrase means. There's a friend of mine, and just to digress for a second, there's a friend of mine in Chicago, and when he had his first son, he was a diehard Buffett Munger fan. When he had his first son, he named him Charlie Warren. His first name was Charlie, middle name was Warren, last name is Oberman, Charlie Warren Oberman. And I remember when Charlie Warren Oberman was born, and when Charlie Warren Oberman turned 20, he contacted me. And I said, Charlie Warren, do you know I know your whole life story? So anyway, when Charlie Warren was born, his dad sent a picture of his to Warren and Charlie. And Warren sent him a note back saying, when Charlie Warren has a stock tip, his first stock tip, call me collect.
This is a beautiful story.
It's true. One of the things that I had read about with Marcus Aurelius, with his Stoic philosophy, is that adversity is a blessing. To encounter adversity and overcome it is a great blessing. And, now that's a quote, but when I look back in my life and I look back at all the difficult times in my life, it were those difficulties that led to the greater growth and higher highs. And we cannot tell this when we are going through these painful periods. Munger said that no one is immune. Everyone's going to have reverses in life. We are not going to be able to have a life without reverses. And the good news is, when there's a reverse, we should be excited. So now what happens is I'm almost like an observer. If I encounter adversity now, I know that I don't know how it's going to help me. I don't know how I'm going to get out of it. I'm, in the middle of it, obviously there are a lot of challenges, but I know I have the confidence to know that this is a beautiful thing. I should be grateful. And I know this will lead to higher highs. I just don't know how. So play the cards and life will work out.